So, a tool that definitely helped me out a lot last year was a journal. So, if you're like me and you want to get done a lot of things on this year and you want to make sure that you're tracking everything or you want to make sure that you are using your day optimally, then I definitely recommend this to you. So, last year, sometime around August, I picked up a journal from Walmart and I decided to start tracking some of the things that I get done. So it started out with just writing down my daily tasks that I want to get done, and that evolved into just writing down two priorities that I want to get done for that day. Then I started writing down my weekly goals and my monthly goals. And what I started to notice was that by writing things down, I was starting to become more optimal with my day. I would check off the things that I wanted to get done, and every day was just very meaningful. And what I started to notice as well was that by writing things down, I was starting to achieve these goals that I set for myself. So, if you're going to start using a journal, I recommend two things. The first thing is to go with a normal journal and not a journal that is virtual. The reason for that is by having a journal that you can hold in your hand and can carry around, it's going to be there with you. So, you can't forget it as much as something that is just an app. And the second thing that I would recommend is using a pen. So, the reason why I recommend a pen is when you write things down with pen, they're permanent. Now, sure you can scribble that off and rewrite it, but once you rewrite that new thing down, that is now permanent. So you can't go back a year later and change things or a week later and change things. So I would recommend using a normal journal and using a pen to write things down. So, what I did this year with my journal was before the year ended, I took some time and I wrote down what my yearly goals were. So, I wrote down my 2022 goals, and that comprised of real estate, investing, and starting a side hustle. And then what I did was I wrote down what my 1 year goal is, my 5 year goal is, and my 10 year goal. I think that writing down your 1 and 5 and 10 really gives you an outlook of all the things that you want to get done and where you want to be in life. Because your 10 year goal, more or less, for me was okay, I've done everything correctly, that's where I want to be. Now, maybe I'll get to that 10 year goal, and obviously, I'm going to write new goals down, but that's where I am in life and that's where I want to be in life. So, I think that is also really important to write down. Now, the next thing that I wrote down is based off of my 2022 goals. I wrote down those goals again, but I broke them down into daily habits that I can do every single day. So I think one of the biggest things that happens is when the new year's coming up, we get really ambitious and we start setting goals for the next year that are very hard to achieve. And not that we can't achieve them, but once the new year comes around and all these things start popping up, we start telling ourselves we can't get them done anymore, or we just drop them off and we don't do them anymore. But by writing them down into a daily habit, daily task that you can do, then that end of year goal starts becoming more achievable because you start getting used to these habits and these tasks that you start doing every single day, and before you know it, you've reached that 2022 goal that you set yourself for at the beginning of the year. The last thing that I wrote down for my book was what is the coolest thing that could happen this year? And for myself, I wrote down to grow an online business that allows me to become my own boss, leave my current job, and start creating something for myself that is scalable and not limited by a 9 to 5 job. So I think that for me was very important to write down because my whole 2022 goals and everything that I'm working for has to align with that goal. And if it doesn't align with it, then I need to reconsider the goals that I'm trying to achieve. Because if it doesn't align with them, then maybe I need to either maybe that goal is not something that's really meaningful for me, or maybe these goals that I'm setting for myself need to change to allow me to reach that sentence that I wrote for myself. So that is something that I think is really powerful, and you should try writing down because it just helps you remember every single day. Okay, why am I doing this? Is it gonna help me, for example, for myself? Is it gonna help me become my own boss and leave a 9 to 5? If not, maybe I should stop doing this. And it's also gonna keep you motivated. Is this that is what I want to do. I'm excited for it. Like, that is my motivation, that is my drive. So yeah, just having that down, I think, is really powerful. Outside of financial stuff, I also wrote down some fitness related things, and I wrote down goals goals and a gym plan for myself. I think that writing down a gym plan, that you can change it around, but something down is also really important. If the gym isn't for you, just writing something down that is outside of finance that can keep you in shape is going to transfer over to achieving these financial goals, because becoming healthy is just as important, and also it creates that discipline of going to the gym and eating healthy, and all these things will transfer over to the same discipline that you need to achieve those goals that you set for yourself. So both of them for me tie really along together, and that's why I wrote them down in this book. All right, now that we have the overview aside, on a monthly basis, I write down some goals that I want to achieve. So that is all going to be a subdivision of my 2022 goals, and I write down what I want to achieve that month, as well as when any idea comes up, I write those down, because I think that if I have an idea that comes up, it's better for me to just write them down and not try to keep them stored in my head, because that's just wasted energy that I could be putting onto something else. And also, if I forget, then it's going to be really difficult for me to try to remember, just with everything going on, and I may be frustrated with myself and say, man, that was a really good idea, I should have wrote it down. So that is what I write down on my monthly goal and idea stuff. Then I also write down my monthly habit tracker. So at the beginning of the month, I write down some habits that I want to track for that month. Normally it's exercise, my weight, going to bed on time, working on a side project, and all these things. But you can customize these habits to what is important to yourself. But by writing down these habits that align with your goal again, it is going to make sure that you are doing things every single day to help you achieve those things, as well as it's going to help you become a better version of yourself. If you want to be someone that exercises every single day, by tracking them down and seeing, okay, I'm going to the gym 20 out of the 30 days of the month, then it's going to help you obviously achieve that goal. Also, if you start noticing, okay, you know what, I only went to the gym 5 out of the 30 days of the month, then maybe next month when you're tracking it, you can be more cautious about that habit and try to put more emphasis on going to the gym. For example, for myself, there are a lot of days where I don't sleep enough hours, and I can start noticing that. I notice that in the next day, man, I need more coffee, I'm grouchy, I'm upset, I don't want to work on my side projects, I don't want to go to the gym. Well, by writing them down and seeing, okay, I didn't do that habit yesterday, it's affecting me the next day. So yeah, writing these habits down are really important, and definitely helped me out a ton last year to achieve all the goals that I wanted to do, and I know it's going to help me this year to achieve all the goals that I'm setting for myself. Alright, now on a daily basis, I write down 2 priorities that I want to get done. Now, the reason why I only write 2 and not more than that is because personally, I feel like if you write more than 2 things down, then it's not priorities anymore. It's more of a to-do list. So at the beginning of the week, for me, it's that Sunday, I write down my to-do list, all the things that I want to get done based off my weekly goal and my monthly goal. And then on a daily basis, pretty much at the beginning of the day, I say, okay, well, this is my to-do list. If I haven't gotten it done, let me put 1, if not 2 things on that priority list. Now, some of them can't be achieved in one day, so I will write them down a couple times. Or if they can be achieved, sometimes I just don't get them done, so I X them out because I didn't get them done. But at the end of the week, I look at that on my weekly. I write down at the end of my priorities a weekly goal, and if I don't check them all out, I have a review just to look at what I did that week and if I did all my priorities. And if I see, okay, I didn't really get them done, why didn't I get them done? I try to think, did I spend too much leisure time? Did I just get lazy? Was I sleeping enough? Just this book helps you look at your goals and look at what you're doing on a daily basis to structure the next week and the following weeks differently to help you do the things that you're setting yourself for. So that's why I write down just 2 things, and I keep a to-do list separately. But I'm gonna make another video on how I set my journal up, my to-do list, my monthly goal. But I want to keep this as an overview of why I think a journal is really important. Okay, finally, I just think that this book is fun. Personally, there's a lot of satisfaction when I just check something off and I say I've done it. And also looking at my weekly goals and just seeing all the things that I've done helps me put myself in a good mood, because sometimes we're doing so much and you can't really tell that things are getting done. But when you look at this journal and you have everything written down, you can see last week, last month's things that you did, and you're like, oh man, I've done a lot of things. Maybe you can't see them just yet, but with time you'll be able to see all the things that you're trying to achieve, because if you keep going, they will eventually become reality. So that's also why I really enjoy using this journal, because man, last year I wouldn't be able to tell myself, oh, you know what, I'd have a house right now, but I wrote things down on a journal. Now when I look at it, I'm like, man, it's crazy that I started doing these things and that led me to get a house, and now I'm continuing to do these other things that are hopefully going to lead me to other successful goals. So yeah, just have fun with it, and I think that it'd be something that you get used to, and you're like, man, I can't imagine myself when I didn't have this book around. But with that all said, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.